2 about biofuel, and you can answer the question there. We will discuss the polling results as we talk later with our panelists. Now, what are we going to talk about in panel 2? We know that Pertamina has been spending a lot of time and focus in developing bioenergy for new and renewable resources, and we know Indonesia is blessed enough with many resources for alternative energy. You know the list. Now, factors determining the development, of course, is economy attractiveness and also, of course, technology maturity. Now, in this session, we will hear from the experts in this, those who are involved and they have success stories in implementing alternative energy. From Pertamina later on, we will hear just where we are now in achieving our energy goals and also what is being done to reach them. Later we will hear from E&I the technology used to achieve increase of alternative energy production and also the conversion that they have done that made their plants also able to produce alternative energy. And we have also from David Grow Brazil, we will hear how national products and government's policies become the drive in making Brazil one of the most talked about success stories as well when it comes to alternative energy implementation in the country. Now, we will try to find applicable learning points here in our talks today, especially from our friends from E&I and also from David Grow Brazil. Therefore, I would like to invite the speakers for today. Our host today is a company committed in exploring new and renewable energy. Without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Gandhi Sriwidodo, Logistics, Supply Chain and Infrastructure Director of PT Pertamina. Please have a seat here. Next of all is the Executive Vice President, Refining and Asset Management of E&I. Please welcome Domenico Elefante. Welcome, Mr. Elefante. And from David Grow, Brazil. David Grow has 35 years of historical data analysis and extensive expertise in this field. Thank you for standing out. Good Nastari. Did I say that right? So, Mr. Nastari was very kind enough to shorten his name to Nastari. He has a longer name which I have difficulties to pronounce. So thank you very much. Please give another round of applause to all the speakers today. Now, how we will conduct the talks today, we will start with every panelist presenting what they will have to be presenting to you and to us for today. We will have 10 to 15 minutes for each speaker, and then I will start a Q&A with every speaker at this part, and we also have a Q&A session, of course, with you, and in between we will show the polling results. So we will show the results that you've heard what the polling about. It was about when Indonesia could reach 100% biofuel. So I hope that you have answers too as well for that prediction. So I'll be asking you too as well as you see how Indonesia is. Jadi kita akan membuka sesi hari ini dengan presentasi. Yang pertama akan dibuka dengan presentasi dari Pak Gandhi Sriwidodo. Jadi saya persilakan Pak Gandhi untuk kejauhan nggak Pak podiumnya, nggak apa-apa Pak. Oke, terima kasih Pak.
Baik, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu, audiens Pertamina Energy Forum yang berbahagia. Perkenalkan, saya Gandhi Sriwidodo, seperti yang tercantum di sini sebagai Direktur Logistik, Supply Chain dan Infrastruktur, ingin menyampaikan pemaparan mengenai kesiapan Pertamina dalam menunjang program pemerintah penerapan B20. Baik, Bapak Ibu, seperti diketahui bahwa energi fosil sudah mulai berkurang, sehingga pemerintah memikirkan untuk menerapkan energi terbarukan. Di antaranya adalah salah satunya dengan penggunaan biofuel. Pertamina sebagai salah satu satu-satunya BUMN yang bergerak bidang di sektor energi tentu saja memiliki kewajiban untuk mensukseskan program pemerintah tersebut, dan juga ini menjadi suatu peluang buat Pertamina untuk mengelola bisnis yang ada, karena bagaimanapun juga energi fosil ini akan berkurang, dan ini tentu saja secara bisnis akan mengurangi market share Pertamina, dan kita juga harus masuk ke program energi terbarukan supaya bisnis Pertamina masih bisa sustain dan kita menyelesaikan. Dan ini seiring dengan perubahan visi dan misi Pertamina. Di sini bahwa visi Pertamina adalah menjadi usaha minyak, gas, serta energi baru terbarukan secara integrasi berdasarkan prinsip komersial yang kuat. Jadi artinya walaupun kita secara mandatori, kita secara korporasi kita jadi BUMN yang memang harus membantu pemerintah untuk mengembangkan biofuel atau energi terbarukan, namun kita juga tidak melupakan atau mengabaikan bisnis-bisnis secara komersil. Lanjut. Nah, bagaimana roadmap program penggunaan biofuel di Indonesia? Sebenarnya program biofuel di Indonesia itu direncanakan tahun 2006. Tahun 2006 pada waktu ada Perpres yang meminta kepada SPBU yang ada di wilayah Jakarta, Surabaya, Malang, dan Denpasar untuk dicoba menggunakan biofuel, namun waktu itu masih antara B2,5 sampai 7,5. Ditambah dengan Permen SK nomor 32, dan kemudian mulai B10 itu di tahun 2013 yang diatur dengan Permen SK nomor 25 terkait amandemen Permen nomor 32 2006, kemudian juga Permen mengenai utilisasi biofuel ditingkatkan jadi B7,5 jadi B10, kemudian meningkat lagi di B15 2015 dan 2016 ini penggunaan 20% untuk PSO itu sudah semuanya. Jadi mulai tahun 2016 itu SPBU seluruh PSO wajib menggunakan B20, dan itu sudah dilakukan di seluruh lembaga penyalur PSO Pertamina, baik itu di SPBU maupun APMS yang ada di seluruh Indonesia. Dan tahun 2018 September mandatori 20% untuk penggunaan B20 pada sektor industri, yaitu non PSO. Dan nanti kita lihat bagaimana perkembangan dan permasalahan yang ada sehingga program B20 ke sektor industri atau non PSO ini harus kita dorong untuk bisa dipercepat, dan upaya Pertamina apa saja untuk melakukan itu. Lanjut. Baik, kalau ini kita lihat dari bauran energi utama Indonesia di tahun 2015. Fosil fuel angkanya adalah meningkat dari 46%, turun fosil fuel turun dari 46% menjadi hanya sekitar 24%. Jadi ini adalah upaya-upaya yang dilakukan oleh pemerintah untuk mengurangi ketergantungan terhadap fosil fuel dari 46% menjadi 24%, 20%. Kemudian yang gas dari 23% menjadi 24%. Kemudian coal dari 26% relatif stagnan, justru turun dia 25%. Dan new dan renewable energy ini angkanya yang tadinya dari 5%, tahun 2050 diharapkan bisa mencapai 30% dari bauran mix. Jadi bauran energi nasional. Program-programnya adalah kalau kita lihat dari tahun 2015 sampai 2050, ini ada volumenya. Di tahun 2018 saat ini adalah tahun 2018 potensinya ada sekitar 5,4 satu tahun. Namun karena dimulai dengan September, realisasinya mungkin hanya sekitar 3,5. Sementara itu proyeksi kebutuhan energi di sektor transportasi ditunjukkan sebagai berikut. Dari sektor energi, dari B20 untuk biodiesel dari tahun 2015 sampai tahun 2025 dari 15% sampai 30%. Sedangkan untuk penggunaan E20 atau bioetanol tahun 2015 jadi 20%, jadi 20% di tahun 2025. Tentu saja biodiesel tersebut tidak tidak terlepas juga dari demand gas oil yang ada di Indonesia. Kalau kita lihat kecenderungan demand gas oil atau solar dari tahun 2007 menjadi 2017, sebenarnya pertumbuhan demand gas oil itu cenderung stagnan. Karena energi alternatif juga sudah mulai berkembang di Indonesia, ada batu bara, ada gas dan sebagainya. Kita lihat di tahun 2007 sampai tahun 2020, prognosanya adalah demikian. 2007 ada 27 juta, sekarang di tahun 2014 peaknya dari tahun 2012 sebesar 34 juta 21, kemudian juga mengalami penurunan relatif turun tapi nggak terlalu drastis, dan di tahun 2012 sekitar 29 juta. Diharapkan tahun 2020 akan ada peningkatan menjadi 33,3 juta, itu apabila energi alternatif yang lain tidak berkembang. Pertamina tentu saja mendukung program pemerintah untuk penggunaan biofuel, dan Pertamina memiliki 112 terminal BBM yang menyebar dari Sabang sampai Merauke. Ada 112. Kami terminal BBM Pertamina siap untuk melakukan blending B20, dan ini sudah terjadi, sudah kita lakukan untuk B20 PSU. Yang B20 non PSU, terminal BBM Pertamina dari Sabang sampai Merauke sebanyak 112 terminal BBM siap untuk melakukan blending. Dengan penyaluran potensinya di tahun 2018 Januari sampai Desember adalah sebesar 3,5 juta, karena non PSU-nya dimulai baru bulan September, sehingga prediksinya harusnya bisa lebih dari 5 juta, namun karena dimulai dari September maka prediksinya kurang lebih cuma 3,5 juta. Namun potensi penyaluran kami di tahun 2019 1 tahun itu bisa berkisar sekitar 5,3 juta, dan tentu saja spirit untuk mencapai 5,3 juta ini juga perlu dukungan seluruh pihak, baik itu dari regulator, terus kemudian juga badan usaha, baik itu badan usaha BBM maupun badan usaha BBM, dan Pertamina sebagai pelaksana kebijakan pemerintah dan sebagai produsen terbesar di Indonesia, tentu saja menyerap sangat besar untuk kebutuhan untuk farming di dalam negeri. Ini kira-kira upaya dilakukan oleh Pertamina. Kalau sebelumnya 112 ini tentu saja sangat sulit distribusinya. Kalau bapak-bapak ibu bisa dilihat di sini, produsen farming itu sebagian besar ada di Sumatera. Kalau harus mensuplai ke 112 terminal BBM, tentu saja ini ada kesulitan dari produsen farming atau BBM. Program untuk mensuplai, untuk merealisasikan alokasi farming yang diberikan oleh pemerintah yang harus disalurkan oleh BBM kepada seluruh BBM Pertamina dengan model pola suplai yang sangat luas ini, tentu saja akan mengalami kesulitan, dan tentu saja ini juga akan mengurangi atau menghambat suksesnya distribusi biofuel atau biodiesel di seluruh Indonesia. Sehingga Pertamina tentu saja menyadari ini, membantu pemerintah dengan melakukan rekonfigurasi. Jadi apabila konfigurasinya yang awal adalah kepada seluruh 112 terminal BBM, untuk tahun 2019 Pertamina sudah menawarkan kepada pemerintah merubah pola suplai atau melakukan rekonfigurasi dari 112 tersebut menjadi hanya 25 titik blending. 25 titik blending, di sini kita lakukan simplifikasi, usulan dari Pertamina kepada pemerintah, hanya 25 titik blending saja yang dilakukan, yang disuplai farming dari badan usaha bahan bakar nabati, sehingga secara volume dan secara kompleksitas ini akan lebih optimum bisa dilaksanakan apabila dengan simplifikasi 20 titik blending. Yang pertama adalah wilayah Sumatera Utara. Kami punya titik blending ada di Sungai Pakding, Dumai, Sambu, Pelaju, dan Medan, dan juga di wilayah Jawa ada di Jember, Jakarta Group, Cikampek, Balongan, kemudian wilayah Sulawesi dan Bandung Group, Tasik, Cilacap, Pengampon, Perulu untuk Jawa Tengah, kemudian Boyolali, Jawa Tengah, kemudian wilayah Kalimantan sendiri ada di Balikpapan, dan Pulau Laut itu di Kota Baru, kemudian wilayah Sulawesi itu ada di Bau Bau, dan wilayah Timur ada di Bayame. Jadi dengan simplifikasi pola supply atau rekonfigurasi pola supply, diharapkan volume yang bisa terserap atau bisa disalurkan oleh badan usaha bahan bakar nabati kepada terminal-terminal Pertamina akan lebih maksimum. Sehingga program penyerapan FAME yang ditugaskan oleh pemerintah bisa dilakukan 100%. Gambaran proses blending ada di Pertamina, Bapak Ibu. FAME didatangkan oleh BUBBN, masuk ke tangki biofuel, kemudian kami juga ada tangki bio Pertamina. Ini ada blending facility, kemudian ini disalurkan kepada biofuel, kepada customer maupun kepada terminal BBM yang lain. Ini dilakukan di terminal BBM utama, kemudian disalurkan kepada industri ataupun kepada SPBU maupun juga disalurkan kepada terminal BBM yang tidak mendapatkan tugas atau bukan sebagai terminal blending. Concern utama Pertamina yang membutuhkan dukungan pemerintah dalam penerapan biofuel ini itu percepatan penyerapan biofuel, yaitu pertama adalah tentu saja adanya kepastian suplai FAME dari BUMN untuk menghindari volatilitas safety stock bahan bakar solar. Jadi kepastian suplai ini yang sangat diperlukan. Tentu saja tidak bisa kita berharap banyak dengan BUMN tanpa kita bantu juga. Makanya program simplifikasi ataupun rekonfigurasi titik blending ini sangat membantu teman-teman BUMN untuk merealisasikan tugas yang diberikan oleh pemerintah di dalam merealisasikan alokasi FAME kepada terminal-terminal blending. Acceptance dari konsumen industri dan mitra biosol. Tentu saja ini sosialisasi dari pemerintah atau regulator kepada kawan-kawan industri bisa lebih ditingkatkan sehingga kawan-kawan industri juga lebih bisa siap menerima B20 dan juga konsistensi kualitas dari FAME yang disuplai. Dan juga bioetanol sama juga kepastian suplai, kemudian ada insentif dan sebagainya. Ini adalah harapan Pertamina kepada pemerintah untuk mensukseskan penyerapan FAME ini semaksimal mungkin. Itu aja yang dapat kami sampaikan pada semuanya. Mudah-mudahan ini bisa sedikit memberikan gambaran kepada kita semuanya bagaimana upaya Pertamina di dalam percepatan untuk memaksimalkan penyerapan biodiesel di sektor industri khususnya. Karena kalau sektor transportasi sudah berjalan, sektor industri mudah-mudahan dengan gambaran tersebut, dengan upaya Pertamina tersebut, program D20 bisa berjalan dengan baik. Demikian, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih banyak Pak Gani Sri Widodo atas pemaparannya. Dan pemaparan terima kasih Pak Gani. Baik, silakan Pak Widodo. Pemaparan berikutnya akan disampaikan terkait dengan apa yang sudah dilakukan oleh INI untuk mengembangkan alternatif energi mereka. Our next speaker to present, I would like to invite Mr. Domenico Elefante, please, to the podium. Tangan untuk Domenico Elefante.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first thank the organizing committee for inviting me to give the presentation. It's a real pleasure for me to be at this important event and to have the chance to discuss with many of the most valuable experts about the perspective of the so-called biorefinery. I was kindly invited to stay 15 minutes and I'll try to do it. And I beg your pardon for not my perfect English, but I'll try to do my best. The object of the presentation is to show you in which way we transformed a fuel refinery in a biorefinery and why we did this. Okay, during the presentation I will go through the following points. First, an overview of the biofuel scenario, of the impact on the refining sector with a focus on the European situation. Then I will tell you something on how Eni, the Italian oil company, is facing the situation, and we'll discuss particularly about the eco-fining industrial process and its main product. If we look at some data and forecast from the market, we can see that biofuels represent a small but significant share of the overall fuel market. Ethanol is more important in USA and Brazil, while biodiesel is more relevant in Europe. Notwithstanding the decrease of the last year's oil price, which has now recovered at least partially, the biofuel production has increased and will continue to grow in the next future. About 10 years ago, the European Union set a package of measures with the aim of a general reduction of greenhouse gas, GHG emissions, in particular for the transportation sector. For the transportation sector in 2009, 2 directives have been issued in order to promote and regulate the use of renewable energies and biofuels. Why we decided to transform our refineries in biorefinery? I'm not so familiar with this too. The global crisis that started in 2008 and 2009 and lasted until 2014 had some impact also in the downstream sector. In Europe, with the situation of high energy costs and decreasing products demands, the impact has been even more relevant than in other areas of the world. Refining margins collapsed from $8–9 per barrel down to $1–2 per barrel. Many refineries ran at loss and were therefore closed or converted in depot. In Europe, 21 refineries in OX area and 7 in non-OX area were closed or transformed. And also in Italy, we experienced the effect of the crisis with the closure of the conversion of some refineries. Since 2011, the refining capacity decreased to almost 20%, going down from more than 100 million tons per year to 87 million tons per year. As we have seen, the market demand scenario and recent legislation concerning the biofuels are putting some pressure on the refining system, especially in Europe. Eni so built its refining business turnaround on technology, innovation, and efficiency. Eni was turning these problems in opportunities. We thought that we could transform old, small sites, simple process scheme, low-performing refineries into modern complexes designed for the production of high-quality biofuels. Since 2005, Eni and UOP decided to launch an R&D project to identify a new technology to produce high-quality biofuels. that can overcome all the negative properties of traditional biofuel farming. The project was a success, and in 2007 a new technology was developed by ENI UOP, leading to an eco-mining new process. So, because of the refining overcapacity, the shutdown of Venice refinery, Venice in northeast of Italy, was considered. Venice was the oldest refinery in Italy. It was built in 1926, so more than 1 century ago. Then it was bombed and completely rebuilt after the war. Was restarted in 1948. New technologies were introduced in the 80s, but it remained a very simple and low capacity refinery. So, we had to decide if to stop Venice or to transform in depot, but the availability of the eco-fining technology suggested the solution of converting the existing refinery to the production of a renewable biofuel, namely HVO, hydrotreated vegetable oil. This solution has the merit of lowering the capital cost with respect to the construction of a new HVO plant, of responding to the European regulation, and overall of saving workplaces, skills, and competencies. Let's now spend a few words to compare main industries' route to the production of biofuels and explain why ENI chose the eco-fining process. The production pathways to obtain a biodiesel, which have been industrialized at a large scale, are essentially three. Biodiesel from transesterification of vegetable oil, co-processing of vegetable oils with mineral gas oil in existing hydrotreating units, and complete hydrogenation of vegetable oil. As said, we have chosen this last process for the reason I will explain with the next slide. With the conventional farming process, biodiesel is produced by transesterification of triglyceride by methanol catalyzed by base or acid. Basic catalysts are preferred because of their high activity, which means low temperature and low concentration. But there are some drawbacks. The drawbacks are related to the sensitivity to water and free fatty acid. The free fatty acid reacts with bases to form soap. And so this causes problem of plugging filters and so on. A straight way to produce a diesel fuel from biocomponents is the co-feeding of biofeedstock together with conventional fossil feedstocks in existing refinery units. Also here we have main drawbacks. The main drawbacks are the presence of oxygen in the feedstock that increases the exothermicity that has to be controlled, and the production of carbon monoxide that depresses catalyticity. And also there are very big issues about corrosion for the presence of free fatty acid that I told before, the CO and oxygen and chlorine. So for this reason, only limited amount, 5, maximum 10% is allowed to co-process. Come now to HVO. The complete vegetable oil transformation in high-quality diesel can be obtained with on purpose hydro-deoxygenation process. The bio-oil is treated with hydrogen at medium pressure in a catalytic process that produces a fully paraffinic diesel and as bioproduct, biopropane and bio-naphtha. So we have much higher quality of the product, no disposal of salty and soapy bioproduct. We can process the free fatty acid contained in the feedstock. We have no low-valuable byproduct as glycerol. HBO can use refining hydrogen, so they do not need to import methanol. And with a small drawback that is higher capex than the FAME process. But now I would show you a comparison between the quality of FAME and HBO. The HBO is a very higher quality in terms of Cetan index. The Cetan index is in the range of 70 to 90. I remember that diesel Cetan spec is 51. The density is 0.78, that referring to the FAME is that is 0.88, and if you sell diesel by volume, this is an advantage. The heating value that is much higher than FAME and even than diesel fuel that allows the car to consume less, and mainly the oxygenation stability. Oxygenation stability, that means with the hydrogenation process we eliminate double bond and water, and so we eliminate an oxygen, and we eliminate so the precursors of fouling. So you will not have the problem of plugging filters and injectors in the engine. And so we can mix the HBO with fossil fuel in all range that you want, higher than 20%, higher than 30%.
Mr. Elefante, we have less than 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. The process is based on two steps. The first step, where the oxygen contained in the biofeedstock is removed as water and carbon dioxide. In this step, linear paraffin molecules are produced. In the second step, we isomerize the paraffins to give better quality, cold flow properties to the product. Let's skip the next one. Here, you have a just rough example in which we have transformed Venice refinery. In green, we are highlighted the two hydro desulfurization unit and the naphtha splitter that has been repumped. In yellow, the units that are still in use, that have not been changed. The transformation has been easy and quick. So in this slide, the pathway for ENI green strategy. In 2005, European ENI started a joint R&D program in order to develop an effective process for the production of biofuel. The first patent was filed in 2007. In 2012, ENI had the idea to utilize the eco-fining process as the core of the transformation of a conventional refinery into a modern green refinery. The green refinery project started in 2013, and in May 2014 started the production of biofuels in Venice refinery. At the end of this year, we will starting up a new refinery transformed from fossil refinery to biorefine in Sicily. I'll skip this and I'll show here the result of the presence of double bonding and oxygen that promotes bacterial contamination and proliferation. And for this reason, you have after what we call the blending wall, that is after 10% of the family additivation to the biodiesel, you have a problem of filter plugging and injector plugging. And also the solvent properties can cause degradation of rubber and elastomer. And also there's higher NOx formation than HPO. This gives you some figures about the engine with HPO. And just to give you some real things that we have done, Eni has put on the market a new premium diesel formula that contains 15% of HPO and proper additive that can maximize the advantages that we have seen before from environmental point of view, from reducing the emission. Okay? And now I will conclude in this way. In more than 1 century ago, in 1912, somebody told the fact that the fat oils from vegetable sources can be used may seem insignificant today, but such oil may perhaps become in course of time of the same importance of some natural mineral oil are now. This man was Rudolf Diesel, the inventor of the diesel, and he told this more than a century ago. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Martin. Interesting, and I'm sure that we have a lot of questions, especially about the conversion of the refinery later on. Nah, sebelum kita melanjutkan ke pembicaraan berikutnya, saya mau mengundang lagi untuk mengikuti polling yang dilakukan melalui apps. Anda bisa masuk ke dalam apps di Pertamina Energy Forum atau PEF apps itu, PEF apps. Select panel 2 tentang biofuel dan jawab pertanyaan yang ada di situ. Pertanyaan adalah sudah mengimplementasikan B20 Indonesia yang memandangkan 20% biokomponen dalam diesel fuel. Menurut Anda dalam berapa tahunkah Indonesia bisa mengadopsi 100% biofuel? Jadi masuk ke apps itu dan Anda bisa menjawab pertanyaan. Masuk ke panel 2 tentang biofuel. Now we'll continue the agenda today, and I would like to invite the next speaker. He is from David Road. Please welcome Mr. Kinestari. Berikan tepuk tangan untuk Kinestari.
First of all, I'd like to thank for the opportunity to share our views here at the Pertamina Energy Forum. It's a great honor for us from Natago. We came from a very far place, but seems that we have a lot in common. I feel that the same challenges that we are facing in Brazil are pretty much similar to what we are seeing here in Indonesia and some of the other Asian countries. We were invited to, sorry. Yes, let's see. Okay. So the topic that we were invited to speak with is about the success on the biofuels policy that we have in Brazil. And it's not a young policy. Brazil have been developing here biofuel energy market since 1975. So if we look at the world consumption for transport fuels, Brazil is the third largest fuel consumption for transport. And this is the chart that represents how mixed is the source of energy in Brazil. But in cycle, in the red cycle, we can see that renewable energy is very relevant and is pushing for social problems. Pretty much pollutions and air problems that we are facing in the big cities, especially in Asian region, India. São Paulo is the fourth or fifth largest city in the world, over 20 million people, and we have a very low pollution index for São Paulo. Why? Because we use biofuels in São Paulo. So biofuels become a very good example that we consume a lot of the carbon that is being emitted on the carbon world. What is the world energy demand today for biofuels? Around 10%, 53 exajoules, and demand to 2035, 79. The CO2 emissions in the world is represented by this chart. 23% of the total emission comes from transport, but in Brazil, 43%. 43% of our emission comes from transport. What means this? We don't have a big industry. Sector is not we are big and the so what is the topic which is around this very important discussion? For sure we are in the changing of the technology for the next 100 years. What is going to be to solve the main problems that we have today? 100 years ago was the comes the electric car. Is for sure the most important one of this presentation. The same is here for us to check. If we see combustion engine today, in 2017, the emissions are 166 grams of CO2 per kilometer. And the estimates shows that this is going to change from 166 to 135. The hybrid gasoline today is 104. And the electric in EU is 139. The electric cars in the EU model is going to reach 82 until 2030. The internal combustion engines in Brazil, the blended mix today is 129, which is below the electric cars already installed in the big cities in Europe, and is going to be 45 in 2030. If we use the hybrid cars, which is my opinion, personally my opinion, is the next year car for countries like India, Brazil, Indonesia, China. Why is the next generation car? Because the emission is very low if you use biofuels. And you have this movement going towards electrification. But if we think, so hybrid today is 45 emission. But if we look 100% 100% electric car, but using fuel as the energy source, battery, fuel cell using ethanol is going to be 11. And is already being announced by Japanese companies that they are giving access to this car in the next 5 years. EU already recognized that if you are burning coal or burning fossil fuel to produce in your car, you're not changing the fog from the big city to the countryside. So you are burning coal to produce the same electricity. You're not changing, you're not becoming greener. It's just moving the fog from one place to the other. Battery, because the energy density of the battery is very low. So Tesla, which is very famous, very nice, beautiful car, the efficiency is 130 to 200. And the maximum that the specialists believe that it's going to reach is around 700. What is, which is this graph here showing the development around from 130 to 700. And what is liquid fuel? The energy density, watt-hour per liter. While Tesla is 130, ethanol is 6,000, and gasoline is around 9,000. It's 130 with Tesla compared to 9,000 of gasoline. So the energy side of the fuel is much higher than the battery. Is sun in a very sophisticated way of storage. This is the car that I mentioned to you. Nissan launched in our conference in 2016 this car. And I'm getting to the end of the presentation. KPMG, they did a survey in 2017. They asked about electric battery cars for the executive of the biggest auto companies. 62% of the executives believe that battery is not going to go in a long run, but 78% of them believe that fuel cell vehicles are the future. And what is Brazil doing to do this? So policy, the last 3 slides. Brazil in 2017, recognizing that renewable energy is the future. Renewable energy means biofuels, solar, wind, thermal, all the energies which are not fossil fuel. Created a very new program that is going to be the trigger for the 4th wave of expansion of the game industry in Brazil. It's not a mandatory thing. This is very important. It's not subsidies. It's an induction program of energy efficiency, induction and use of biofuels, and recognition of the capacity of each sugar mill or sugar plant or biodiesel plant to produce carbon reduction. So if I'm a 10 liters of ethanol and I emit 10 units of carbon, I will receive certificates to be in the stock market at Shell and get revenues on this. What are the impacts? From 27 billion liters, as I mentioned to you in the beginning of the presentation, the Brazilian industry or the Brazilian government, through RenovaBio, is pushing the sector to move to around 47 billion liters. This is policy. In America 15 years ago. Renewable and 2 in US, put US in the first place. Brazil is trying to create again an environment to biofuels. What is the impact on sugarcane? The 4th wave of expansion here. So we move from 60 before the proethanol to 360 in 30 years. Then we create the flex fuel cars which we are using today, we mix ethanol. And RenovaBio, that agro estimate is going to be around 887 million tons of cane. Just to recover, Thailand, which is the second world largest, is 135 million tons of cane. And Australia, which is the third world largest sugar exporter, is 34. Again, I would like to take the opportunity to share this presentation with you. For sure, Indonesia have many similar characteristics with Brazil. You don't need to start from zero. You can go to Brazil, the experience that was not good at all, and produce energy inside the country using this biodiversification that you have here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, I'd like to invite you back to your seat. Now, before we start, please do prepare your questions through the app. We'll also be answering your questions. But before we start the talks, I would like to open the results for the pollings. So we asked you in how many years could Indonesia reach 100% biofuel? We'll see the results of the polling. How many of you believe that we could reach it in 3 years, 5 years, or 8 years? These are the results. Okay, 0% went with 1 to 3 years. I see there are very realistic people around here. It's a nice 22% for 3 to 5 years. 78% of you, 5 to 8 years. Why so pessimistic? Banyak nih mungkin mau komentar ya. Jadi ini adalah persepsi dari para hadirin di sini untuk memperkirakan dalam berapa tahun Indonesia akan mencapai 100% biofuel. 5 to 8 years or the longest result. Mungkin tidak mewakili apa stance of Pertamina, tapi what is your opinion on the result?
Wah, ini repot ini. Kalau beli 100 Pertamina nggak jualan BBM. Kilang-kilang kita pada tutup. Baik kawan-kawan, sebenarnya untuk ini masih cita-cita pemerintah ya. Namun untuk mencapai 100 itu diperlukan kesiapan teknologi, kemudian juga kesiapan dari customer-nya sendiri, dan juga kesiapan dari produsen. Karena memang untuk teknologi dan motor maupun industri, apakah mereka di 100 juga implikasi di dalam lagi, dan juga bagaimana nanti kalau bisa di 100 produksinya sendiri seperti apa, dan juga ya dari stakeholder yang lain, misalnya dari izin asuransi segala macam, ini harus disinkronkan supaya program bisnis seperti 100 ini bisa berjalan dengan baik.
Oke. Jadi banyak sebenarnya kesiapan dari banyak pihak juga. Now, Pak Gani touched upon technology, and as he also said, it's not only about how fast we can adopt the B100 target, but there's a lot of parties involved. It's not only about the producer of the energy, but also those who are receiving it, the consumers, the policies involved. Touch more upon the technology that you mentioned. A very interesting point was when E&I converted their plants into an eco plant. Now, it has been going on for so years. What has been the problems that you have met? You described in the beginning, but what have been the problems in the operation up to today that we could expect?
First of all, was the psychological problem. Because to convert a fuel refinery, a biorefinery, is a change of mind. We had to convince unions, to convince workers. This was the first problem. We spent some time, not so much, but now the unions from one side and the operator from the other are best convinced that the From the let's say, process point of view, this is we spent a lot of time research and development, but at the end, we found a real simple process. Simple to process, simple to run, simple. I told you into the scheme, it's low pressure, 45 bars, it's low temperature, 200 degrees centigrade. So it's something really simple to do. And but the very interesting thing is that this product has to advantage. From one side, reduce emission a lot.
Yeah.
Cars consume less, between 3 and 5% consumes. On the other hand, there's no blending wall. Blending wall means that can be added to the diesel without any problem of plugging filters and plugging injector in the engine.
Okay.
We solved all these kind of problems, and we have done a lot of lab trials, and this is completely mixable over 30-40%, no problem. This is what we are very proud.
Another thing that might deter countries or companies to do the same is probably the cost. Where would you put this cost? Is it a very costly thing to do conversion of the plant or the refinery, or would you say it is still lower than actually building a new refinery?
Well, we have converted a fossil refinery in a biorefinery. We have spent in doing this between 1/3 and 1/4, then building a new refinery. So the capex, even not marginal, but we have a structure of existing refinery. This, because as far as I understood, Pertamina every day imports 130,000 barrels a day of diesel and export palm oil, but it has main refineries. So I would suggest them to take in deep consideration the opportunity of doing something like this. Not converting, not necessarily converting refinery, but building this kind of plant in existing refinery.
Oke, before itu Mr. Ansari, tadi sudah dikatakan bahwa harganya sepertiga bahkan sampai seperempat dari membuka refinery baru begitu, dan menyarankan Pertamina mungkin bisa melakukan hal yang sama. Dan Pertamina bagaimana?
Kami sedang melakukan persiapan uji.
Oke. Ya.
Saja tahapan seperti itu masih di dalam perubahan kami. Ini yang tahap awal coba refinery yang dipakai dan ini sudah. Kalau kemarin membutuhkan atau memberikan dampak surgas yang lebih efisien atau lebih kompetitif, pasti Pertamina akan melakukan.
Adakah kendala teknologi untuk begitu? Karena kemudian tadi bahkan Italia juga mengatakan teknologinya juga harus mencari teknologi baru untuk bisa menciptakan itu.
Sebenarnya bukan hanya teknologi prosesnya, tapi juga termasuk kesiapan customer ya.
Iya.
Customer di dalam menerima program ini. Sepanjang customer bisa menerima dan teknologi mesinnya juga siap, jadi bisa Pertamina akan diikuti.
Policy, Mr. Astari. Now, as you explained to us as well, the policy the government has taken affects a lot. But what I want to know is how difficult was it to actually push policies that also help advance these achievements?
Timothy, thank you for your question. Out of the 4 wave expansions, in Brazil. The first one and the third one was not policy at all. So the first program that the Brazilian government developed was in 1975, the Pro-ethanol program. And it was easier to implement and create because it was during the military period. So not that much democracy.
Yeah.
The second wave of expansion, which started in 2003, and it was very significant, 300 million tons of cane in 10 years, was not a policy. It was just the fourth wave of expansion, which is this one that we are in the beginning, was signed in December 2017. Although it is the fastest law in the democracy period in Brazil, created and signed, was very hard to align all the energy stakeholders to create this renewable energy program. Especially because RenovaBio is not only ethanol. RenovaBio is ethanol from cane and corn. Biodiesel from many sources, so the main source, we have palm, but not big, but the main source is soybean. Biogas has become a very fashionable topic in the renewable industry in Brazil. Yesterday in Brazil, the auto company launched the car which is ethanol and biogas. The first car which is, because we had biogas in Europe and Germany, but with diesel.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to create these policies because you have many stakeholders. But once US developed, they had a good challenge, and development will have examples to create their own policies domestically.
Okay. You say that Indonesia shares a similarity with Brazil. In a very specific sense, what would you say you learned that what we don't share the same production, of course, and as you said, for ethanol and so, but this similarity that you see can be potential for Indonesia.
For sure, thank you for sure, our countries are developing countries. We have many social challenges. And the biggest aspect of the renewable world is that it's the best way to transfer wealth and development. So, agro-industry, which is renewable, agro-industry in Brazil become energy. Tourism is expanding. I just want to refresh you. 20 years ago, Brazil used to be a net importer of all crops, food crops. And we became the world largest for all crops, first and second, in 20 years. Why? Because of policy. Because of policy. Brazil is big, but 67% of the country is forest. Still the same impact. So what are the similarities between Indonesia and Brazil? Many social problems, many structure, the same. We don't have infrastructure in Brazil. Many problems. We are dependent on oil. So the best way is to develop renewable industry to hedge and transfer wealth. You don't need to pass all challenges that Brazil has. Go there and learn. Many things were wrong in the past 40 years. And it's easier to share this experience. The global world is able to provide these opportunities.
But Gandhi mentioned a little about the readiness of the customers, and Mr. Ansari also said that the biggest asset is actually the customers. what has E&I faced with when it comes to actually producing it and also pushing it to the market? Was there a ready market, the demand, or was it created, and how much the policy has there played a part?
And how did you do, you mean?
The customers of the biofuel, as you produce, as you converted, as you invested heavily in that, how much readiness for the customers? Was it created? Was it just something organic, or was it a policy-wise matter?
Yeah. Point of view of network distribution and engine acceptance, there's no technical control. The same network that for fossil fuels is used for the new diesel. I told you that there's no blending progress at all. And one thing I can assume that we pushed a premium diesel with 15% of this HVO, this premium that has lower consumption and better emissions as our share this premium, so very accepted from the market.
Okay. Yes.
Very fast. This is the main point to create climate. It's very nice to be green,
Yeah.
very nice to save the world, but if it's not going to consume. So a very strong pillar of these successful programs in US, Central America, Brazil, Argentina, is to be cheaper than fossil.
Okay.
If it's not cheap, consumers are not going to consume.
Okay.
So at the same time, energy sources.
Masalah juga seperti presentasi Anda tadi, keadaan di bawah ada hal ini juga untuk menyamai perbedaan harga dari farming itu sendiri masih menjadi masalah kan? Masih sebesar apa masalahnya?
Suatu hal yang sebenarnya masih baru di Indonesia.
Oke.
Saja dengan insentif subsidi terhadap produsen dan warganya, misalnya harganya di bawah di bawah harga pasar. Terus kemudian juga masalah infrastruktur. Yang paling penting juga adalah bagaimana kita memberi customer bahwa program renewable energy ini dalam hal biodiesel di pulau ini tentu saja juga bisa memberikan sektor ekonomi maupun juga sisi ekonomi juga akan mendorong pertumbuhan ekonomi ataupun pertumbuhan ekonomi dari sisi perusahaan yang sebagian juga dimiliki oleh masyarakat. Kalau memang yang tentu saja nantinya akan dikembalikan harga kepada mekanisme pasar.
Oke.
Itu akan lebih menarik lagi jika pada mekanisme pasar pemerintah hanya membuat kebijakan sisi bukan apakah itu masalah
Jadi Anda percaya pada suatu saat nanti economy scale itu akan berjalan sendiri gitu loh?
akan berjalan sendiri seiring dengan kesiapan customer, seiring dengan kesiapan infrastruktur, dengan kesiapan produsen, dan tentu saja ini akan menjadi perkembangan pemerintah dari sini. Tapi mereka
Okay. Okay. So I already shared with us what and what you need to do, Mr. Mati, I would like to what remarks do you have for Indonesia as well as we try to learn more about advancing our biofuels and bioenergy.
producing and still produces from crude. So it's the goal. But we need something outside. I agree that there is the solution. But the biodiesel side is one of the options, one of the best ones. As far as our allows you to have diesel working properly engine until a certain amount. In Europe, it's not where that is. You can approve. You cannot go.
Floor. Let me see. Ini dari aspek bisnis ekonomi. Boleh saya
Pertamina akan konsisten di program menyiapkan infrastruktur maupun melakukan rekonfigurasi atau simplifikasi pola supply segala macam agar supplier biodiesel atau badan usaha BBN itu lebih mudah dalam merealisasikan alokasi yang diberikan pemerintah untuk memenuhi kebutuhan Pertamina.
Oke, baik. Satu saja pertanyaan very shortly to Ms. Lestari, very shortly. How does Brazil, especially from a regulatory view, overcome the sustainability issues that always comes for first generation biofuels feedstock? And that was through the, how does Brazil, especially from a regulatory view, overcome the sustainability issues that always comes from biofuels feedstock?
Generation ethanol. Sometimes advanced biofuels, conventional biofuels. Sugarcane ethanol is considered advanced biofuels. Most, 100% of the production is first generation.
Okay.
Although it's advanced, it's still generation. Second generation ethanol, which is from cellulose, investments in Italy, US, and Brazil were made, but not yet come in economical manner. So it's still in this. Sugarcane, if you produce sugarcane in a control area, a level, can reach 370 tons per hectare. Today, Brazil, on average, is producing on a yield of 75, first generation. Why am I telling this? Because there's a lot of development in the first generation ethanol. Because we are in the beginning of the yield of the sugarcane.
Okay.
So, second generation is going to come, but probably not so fast.
Okay. Thank you very much for all the speakers. Kita berikan tepuk tangan untuk Pak Adi. Thank you from ENI. Thank you very much. Pak Adi, terima kasih banyak atas waktunya. Untuk itu saya kembalikan kepada Evin. Terima kasih banyak. Saya kembali ke
Momentum on this moment. Gentlemen, can you stay on stage? As a token of appreciation, we would like to invite to the stage Bapak Budi Santoso Syarif as Direktur Pengolahan Pertamina. Kami mohon sih dari bawah yang apresiasi pada Pak Denis kami. Looking at the hands of in real life, Pak ya. Let us take a group photo together. Silakan Bapak untuk dapat bergabung. Thank you very much, gentlemen. You may return to your seat. Discussion. And of course, Pertamina also appreciate our participants because we will be giving away prizes on our quiz. The drill, silakan buka smartphone Anda, buka aplikasi dari tahap 2018, langsung dipencet jari Anda.